Welcome back to Spill the Milk. Thanks for joining me. I'm Nicki, registered nurse and board certified lactation consultant with over 20 years experience. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Since October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I want to take a moment to talk about something you might not hear very often. It's how breastfeeding can actually lower a mom's risk of breast cancer. And I think this is huge, especially since it's October. But we spend so much time talking about how breastfeeding benefits our babies. But today, I want to focus on you, sweet mama, because your health matters just as much. And again, I don't think we spend enough time talking about the importance of you. So we're going to get into some facts and some truth today. Here's the truth. Breastfeeding in itself is just super powerful, right? Studies show that women who breastfeed lower their risk of both breast cancer and ovarian cancer. And let me tell you, I've had a fair share of scares in my life. So I have fibrocystic breast, and a few months ago, I noticed some changes and I got really scared. And my anxiety took over, just like it does for so many of you. And I had to intentionally fight to calm myself, just like I try to teach you guys to do. I had to use facts to dispel the anxiety. Be sure you are separating your anxiety by asking yourself, is this scary or true? It's so hard to do this in moments of panic, but the more you practice, the better you will become. So here's what I did. I went back to what I knew about breastfeeding and how my experience breastfeeding my 4 kids helps to lower my risk of breast cancer. So let's talk about this in depth and get some real statistics out there. Remember, facts help calm you. What's really fascinating is that the length of time matters in breast cancer prevention and breastfeeding. And I think this is truly amazing. So, breastfeeding for a year or longer across your lifetime, this just doesn't mean one incident, can lower your breast cancer risk by about 5% for every 12 months you breastfeed. According to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, they did a meta analysis of 32 studies, and they found that women who breastfed were 11% less likely to get breast cancer. This benefit increased to 28% among women who breastfed for months, 12 months or longer. This is in addition to the 7% decrease in risk observed just for having a baby. And that's just for me. I added up those months, and it was almost 8 years of breastfeeding, and I started to feel less anxious. And then I added in my 4 kids. So 4 kids, 8 years total breastfeeding, which brings me to the next statistic, and you're going to want to listen to it. All right. Moms who breastfeed for 2 years or more in total, have about 20% lower risk of breast cancer compared to moms who have never breastfed. Isn't this amazing? It's about that total time spent, not per baby. So it's a lifetime. Just and then just to kind of give you some information, it's about estrogen, and I'll get to that. When it comes to ovarian cancer, breastfeeding for 12 months or longer can cut the risk by almost 30%, even among women with inherited BRCA1 or BRCA2 mutations. Breastfeeding was associated with a 23% reduction in the risk of ovarian cancer. This is just huge. So let's talk why. And I'm going to talk about the estrogen that I talked about earlier. When you breastfeed, your body produces less estrogen, the hormone that can fuel certain types of cancer. And your breast tissue goes through changes that actually help clear out cells that can become cancerous later on. It's like magic. So, estrogen fuels certain types of breast cancer. And many breast cancers are called estrogen receptor positive or ER positive, meaning they grow in response to estrogen. Higher lifetime exposure to estrogen increases your risk. But pregnancy and breastfeeding reduce estrogen levels. So while you're pregnant and breastfeeding, your body has longer stretches of time with the decreased estrogen. This reduces how much estrogen sensitive breast tissue is exposed over your lifetime. Breastfeeding delays ovulation. Lactation suppresses ovulation for some time, but really does, especially with just exclusive breastfeeding. Fewer ovulatory cycles equal less estrogen exposure and equal reduced risk cancer benefit. Breast tissue changes during lactation. Breast cells mature and shed after breastfeeding ends. This process helps remove cells with DNA damage that could later turn cancerous. Lots of information just in those sentences. Oh my gosh. So there's some supporting evidence out there, and I'm just going to name a few. But the collaborative group on hormonal factors in breast cancer found that for every 12 months of breastfeeding, breast cancer risk drops by, again, about 5%, partly because of the reduced estrogen exposure, just like we talked about earlier. A review in the Journal of Clinical Oncology explained that breastfeeding lowers circulatory estrogen and progesterone, both of which can drive cancer development in hormone sensitive tissues. So here's where I want to give you credit. Those long nights, countless feeds, and the hours you spend nursing or pumping, they're not only nourishing your baby, they're also protecting your future health and your family. So you are doing something huge for yourself. Who doesn't like multitasking, right? You're doing it. You're doing it. Everything counts. Now, I want to pause here and say this. Every mom can exclusively breastfeed, and that's okay. Here's what you need to remember. Please remember this. Any amount of breastfeeding offers benefits, whether it's a few weeks, a few months, or years. And remember that pregnancy helps too. So if you've ever doubted whether what you're doing matters, let this be your reminder. It just does. It all matters. Every single feed matters for you and for your baby. You all know how I feel about supporting you, but I also love you supporting other moms. So let's do this together. Since this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I want to remind you that breastfeeding is just one piece of the puzzle. You guys, make sure you're doing your screenings, your self-checks, and know your body. When you do more self-checks, you start to get to know your body. How incredible is it to know that something as natural and loving as breastfeeding is also a form of protection for you? You. Breastfeeding just isn't about that sweet baby. It's about you too. So this month, let's do it. Let's spread the word. Tell another mom, a sister, a friend, and share that breastfeeding is not only baby's superpower, it's your superpower too. Thank you so very much for spending time with me today on Spill the Milk. If this episode encouraged you, please, 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 I'm begging you, share it with another mom. You never know who might need this reminder. And if you want to connect more deeply with me, check out my Patreon community for extra support, behind the scenes, and resources just for you. This Breast Cancer Awareness Month, let's celebrate the ways we nourish our babies and protect ourselves too. I am so extremely proud of you. You're doing amazing. Don't forget to join me on Patreon and all of my social media places. I offer classes, virtual consultations, and more. I will include a link to all of those places in the description of this podcast. Thank you again for joining me, and I'm so proud of the journey you are on. Have a good one.